So, good morning. Today is the 6th day of Pesach, of Passover. It's also the 11th of April. And we're going to be dealing with something that is very pertinent both to Pesach and to the Torah reading. Because we want to finish the entire parsha of Shemini, we're going to be looking at the 6th reading. The 6th reading is a very well-known reading that focuses for the first time on the animals that may or may not be eaten. And they fall into different categories: the animals that walk on their on 4 feet, those that are insects, those that are birds and fly, and so on. The, I think, most well-known or most surprising statement regarding this reading is in the Medrash at the very end of chapter 13 of Midrash Rabbah on this parsha. And there it says an incredible thing. It says that the animals that are listed as being impure, that cannot be eaten, for instance, the what is called the hyrax or the shafan. It's a little rodent. There was some confusion in the past about whether it's a rabbit or not a rabbit. It seems to be that it's talking, certainly from a scientific point of view, more about something called the hyrax. And there's a hare there, also mentioned, which also is impure. And the final symbol is the very well-known symbol of the pig. And the sages say something amazing about the pig. And let me just read it to you from the source. And the pig, it represents Edom. Edom was the nation that was set up from the descendants of Esau. And the sages say that each one of these animals, in terms of its character traits, represents a certain nation. In this case, it was the nation of Edom. And it says about it that it does not chew its cud, which in Hebrew means geira lo yigar. Now the word geira, cud, in Hebrew also means to pull something behind you. So basically what the animal is doing is it's pulling up from its stomach back to its mouth and re-chewing the food that was already digested partially. And say the sages, what does it mean that it doesn't chew its cud, meaning that it doesn't pull up from its stomach back up to its mouth to re-chew? It says about it that Edom does not pull up another nation or another empire after it. What does that mean? That there was an understanding amongst the sages in the time of the Second Temple that after the Roman Empire was called Edom. It was called the nation that was somehow connected to Esau. There's a long discussion about this, whether this is also historically how this is true. How could the Roman Empire, which was a European nation, how could it somehow be related to the Semitic people known as the Edomites, who lived in the southern part of Israel, of the land of Israel? In any case, without getting into that, there's a lot to be said about that. To make it short, the sages identified Edom, the continuation of Edom, with the Roman Empire. And they said that the Roman Empire is going to be the final empire in the world. What does that mean? It's not going to pull another empire after it. Nobody else is going to rule the entire world after it. Now, it's a very interesting thing because on the face of it, the Roman Empire fell apart in the early Middle Ages. In the 4th, 5th, 6th century, it already split into the eastern part and the western part, and basically there's nothing left of the Roman Empire today. Because of this, there's a whole literature that was developed in Judaism that identifies Christianity, because basically the Roman Empire divided into, it became Christendom. It became the Holy Roman Empire of the Middle Ages, which then developed into modern Europe. And a lot of people, for one reason or another, connect Christianity as the successor of the nation of Edom. That in itself is very surprising, but we know that the Roman Empire did adopt Christianity, and when it fell apart, it basically became the Christian Empire in Europe, which ruled over much of the world. And one might say that in a certain sense, the Christians still rule most of the world. But then the sages add something very interesting. They say, and why is its name Chazir? Chazir means pig. Why is that? What does that name imply? They say, Shemachazeret atara liv'alea, that it returns the crown to its rightful owner. Who is the rightful owner of the crown of the world? Well, obviously that is the Creator, God. And that, they say, is what it means. This is the last verse of the book of Ovadia that we read every day at the end of Shirat Hayam, of the Song of the Sea, which we're going to read now on the 7th day of Pesach. That's the reading. That there will be saviors who will rise in the mountain of Zion, of Zion, and they will judge the mountain of Esau, of Esav, meaning here Edom, meaning the Roman Empire, meaning Christianity, Va'ita la'Hashem Mamlucha, and the kingdom, the sovereignty, will return to God. And this is probably one of the most well-known statements of eschatological history in the entire Medrash. And what is it saying basically? So a lot of people know this idea that eventually the pig will become kosher. Because how do they know this? Because they read it as saying that the pig will return. That the chazir itself, the pig itself, is destined to return. But as we just read, the meaning really is that what the pig represents is destined to return. This is one of the things that many times is a misconception in reading the sages, that sometimes the symbolism is lost, and so people are left with the idea that somehow the pig is going to become kosher. Theoretically, in 20 years, it could be that we won't eat any kosher meat because all our meat will be produced in a laboratory, and for various reasons, the moment that a meat is produced in a laboratory, it doesn't need to be shechted, doesn't need to be slaughtered, doesn't need to be even kosher meat. The source of the cells doesn't have to necessarily be from a kosher animal. There's a lot of halachic discussion about this, and it seems that the consensus is going in that direction. So the pig is not going to be anything special. It's going to be like all the other meat in the world. Of course, the taste will not depend on the animal anymore. When you take a single cell or a few cells from its body, you no longer get the taste really. So the idea wasn't ever that the pig will somehow become kosher. The idea was that what the pig represented, it represented the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire and its transformation into Christianity will be what will return the crown to God. And that's a very interesting idea in and of itself. The Maimonides writes at the end of his Laws of Kings and Their Wars, he writes that eventually the fact that there was something called Christianity, which had obviously a false Messiah and some false conceptions about godliness and some mistakes, but overall the direction of Christianity was actually positive, and it is paving the way, he writes, for the true Mashiach to come, because they expect someone to come and change the world. They are, in a sense, I hate to borrow this word, but it's really what it means. They are progressivists, meaning that they believe that there is progress in the world, that the world is going to lead to a positive end. There is a positive end in sight. They thought that the end would be already maybe in 1991, when the Berlin Wall fell and the Russian, the Soviet Union fell. But it's going to take longer. But the whole idea, the whole concept that Christianity had, that the Western world has, that history is progressive, meaning it's leading to a better and better end, is the entire concept that was borrowed from Judaism in the form of this idea that there is a Mashiach. And that's what the Rambam writes, that they're paving the way for the Mashiach. In that sense, they're actually positive. On the seventh day of Pesach, we celebrate a tradition that was started apparently by the Baal Shem Tov of in Chutz La'aretz, outside of the land of Israel, it's on the 8th day. In Eretz Yisrael, it's on the 7th day, because we only have one day of Yom Tov. We only have a 7th day, we don't have an 8th day. So the afternoon meal, which usually there isn't an afternoon meal on a Yom Tov, on a holiday, because there's only 2 meals, there's no afternoon meal. But the Baal Shem Tov apparently started a tradition that he called Seudat Mashiach, the meal, the feast of the Mashiach. And so it's during this special time that he said that we have the opportunity to unite together as Jews and to ask Hashem that this will finally happen. That the world, which is actually ready for it in many ways, because we understand that still the world is ruled by the Roman Empire, by its successor, by Christianity. It's still ruled by it. And they are waiting to see the redemption. It's true that they have some misconceptions about what God is, they have some misconceptions about what the Redeemer will be like, but the truth is that they're still waiting for the positive outcome that we're also looking for. So God willing, I hope that everybody will celebrate this special time of unity for all of us, to get together and to eat matzah again, and to drink 4 cups of wine, the way that the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe instituted, and to pray that Hashem already bring us this time of goodwill between people, so that the prophecy here, eschatological prophecy of the sages, that the pig is destined to come back. It's destined to return us to a state in which we can all crown God as the master of the universe, and that of course means that the Torah is His word, and so on. That all that will come to pass in our days speedily, and this all starts again. This whole idea started from this reading, this 6th reading of Parashat Shemini, and I wish everyone a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. Should be a very festive 7th day, and in Chutz La'aretz an 8th day of Pesach, and we should meet together right afterwards in welcoming the Mashiach to the world.
Amen.
Chag Sameach.